So I'm with Chris Thomas at what was meant to be a press conference, but a lot of MHKs were here and, to say that they were taking a very keen interest in this subject because it is rates review and modernisation. Good luck.
Thank you
Another
very
hot
much.
potato because this consultation 2015, wasn't it? Referred to here. Nothing's moving forward. You picked this one up. But, I mean, I don't know where to begin. For the person watching this, first of all, they hear rates review that means I'm going to pay more for my house, right? Mm-hmm. Take it away. Cause
one of the principles is that we're not going to use this to increase the amount that's taken from everybody from the rate system, but the rate system is widely perceived. I think it's generally agreed that it's unfair. There are all sorts of people who pay less than the average and people who pay more than the average, and the general perception is that's not fair. So we're trying to change it, but lots of people before me and the team that's working on it now have tried to change it. It's very difficult. No, let's go back to the real basics. Rates is in two parts. First of all, you have what's called the rateable value, which is how much your house is assessed. In 1969, and since 1969, that's been based on the rental value of that property, and then to that rateable value is applied a rate, and that rate comes from either the Utilities Authority for water and sewerage, and that's an all-island rate, or it comes from a local authority or from a burial authority or one of the other people who can apply rates. We're not talking about that part. We're not talking about local authority reform. We're not talking about the level of services and what you get and whether your bin is collected once a week or every fortnight. At this stage, we're talking about making the rateable value system fair.
And you've got this great way of area, by doing it by area.
So there are a couple of points I'll focus on first, which are the big sort of themes behind this consultation, and then there's some other detail a bit later on. One is that in January 2015, Mr Tier took a motion to Tynwald to spend £2 million of our precious national reserves on revaluing in a traditional way. That was passed by Tynwald. Some people say to the Treasurer's surprise, but nothing's been done about it since. Part of that reason is, why would you spend £2 million of our precious reserves on a system that's not going to collect any money, if only to make it fair?
Well, make it fairer, because I mean there must be people. It hasn't been looked at since 1969. Well, if houses are older than that, right, they really people aren't paying much money, are they?
Yeah, older properties would have been captured, but the issue is the newer properties relative to the older properties that haven't changed in those years. So there are all sorts of anomalies. So what we're saying is we can, using aerial photographs and a computer program that was successfully used in Guernsey, we could do this revaluation process for a fraction of the price that
You're
was
going to take pictures, from drones of people's houses?
We have them
from
already.
From a computer model, work out how much they should pay?
Yeah, and it worked really, really, really well in Guernsey, and it's a system that's used for other purposes. We have those photographs every year already. And the second point that we're going to raise in this, and have raised in this consultation, is that there are all sorts of unfairnesses, if that's a word. One of them is that what's called non-domestic rates, the rates that businesses pay, that charities pay, that government properties pay, are unequally distributed around the island. So there are some local authorities that benefit from it, and some that
if you're in Bride, I mean, it's a massive amount of non-domestic rates. I mean, why so high there compared with even Douglas, which is much lower?
Yeah, so
they're going to be worried. They won't want this change, right?
Exactly, but I don't think people have seen that information presented so clearly as it's presented in the table and the diagram that I hope you can put onto this shot. And so that's the second big issue. There are all sorts of other issues to do with discounts, to do with how we collect it efficiently, to do with incentives for different behaviours, to do with ability to pay, to do perhaps with considering discounts for certain occupancy. There are all sorts of other issues.
Yeah, you don't want to do. Well, you can't taking photos. You can't say how many people are living in that house, right?
No. So what I've said in the two statements I've made is that we'll use other all electronically held information about people wherever we can, because it should be cheaper in principle and more efficient to revalue in the future to use that information.
Will people be paying more or less? So, I mean,
some people will be paying more,
right,
Paul.
Certain areas or certain properties?
It'll be all of those things. It'll be some areas and probably, and also some people in some areas will be paying more and some people will be paying less. That's why it's so politically controversial. What you heard today was you heard something that I wanted you to hear, which is that there isn't consensus in Tynwald about this. There never has been.
Laurie Hooper was absolutely on your case there. He was, coming up with questions.
What's new there then? What's new there?
I know.
Fair play to Laurie. So the consultation only went up an hour ago, and he'd read it all, and he had an important issue. The issue he raised is an important one that I want discussed by the Manx.
We'll talk to him about that anyway. So, but come on, this is something that you put out to consultation, and basically the people who are going to respond to this are going to say, I don't want to pay anymore. I've got a lovely house out in Bright or whatever it is. It's, big, it's old, and they pay not much, are they? Let's face it, some of these houses are paying very, very little.
That's a fair point, fair comment. And in 2015, we had enough answers to the consultation then to analyse the responses that we got according to where people lived. And you are right, in the urban areas there tended to be a support for modernisation more than in some of the country areas, but there was a majority in the country areas, because ultimately people know best, and people know that it's best to raise taxes, public revenue fairly, and it's best to have a system of spending those resources that's fair and efficient, and that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that we can have a really good consultation with lots of people participating, a really good debate about the issues, such that when we come to June and ask Tynwald to decide certain things...
But local authorities need to know how much money they're raising. This could change everything, right? I mean,
not next year, not the year after. But I do hope that we can actually deal with it this time. It's very easy, and it was very easy for the last administration to put it off to this administration. Mr. Tier said just that in about 2015 when I was pestering him with questions. The administration before did that. I hope that by 2021 we'll have made good progress and we can have sorted
Look me in the eyes and seriously tell me you believe this is going to go through, because just from the reaction here, it seems like there's
24. There are 24 votes.
They've got their constituents to look after, and they're not going to let you do this.
Well, in which case, then, stop pretending that they want a fair rate system. What we want to do is we want an efficient and effective collection of public revenue from properties. The rate system is simple. It's understood. There's a widely held perception that it needs to be modernised. This is a way to do it. Government's actually been so bold, and this is what Laurie didn't like so much, it's been so bold as to propose a solution. We've put the solution on the table, and let's see what happens in the next few months, and I'm looking forward to the debate in June, and I'm sure we'll be talking to people.
There's so much here, but really the best thing is people can get hold of the consultation now, can they? It's online, it's ready to pick up.
Online, that's right.
And the more the merrier.
Physical copies. We're also having workshops with all the local authorities. The team that's been in place since just before Christmas has arranged groups of local authorities from different parts of the island and different types of local authorities to come together in workshops about this. We've got a workshop with surveyors, which we're organising. I'm sure we will end up having one with charities. That's fine. We're not going
to talk about this another 5 years, do you think?
If transition for local authority change in the past has been over 5 years, I'm sure things will still be going on in 5 years, but I really do hope in the next 2 years we can agree the principles such that we can commission software and put in place law so that we can make a move to the system that's fairer and better for all.